Hi, my name is Terry. I'm your boy Terry, and my username is surpassing Google across the internet. I'm a legitimate illiterate, and in this video, I'll be answering the question at hand: How good or bad is healthcare in the Philippines? I'm located in the Philippines, but my perception to this topic will have context. I'm not going to be answering the question alone. I'm going to read the experience of someone as well that I found on Quora that gave a good account of his experience when it comes to healthcare. And there won't be any concrete conclusion because I want you to draw conclusions on your own. This video will be valuable to you, especially if you're not from the Philippines, an expert per se. I'm Filipino, I'm mixed, but I'm Filipino in my citizenship. In any case, I'm still treated like a foreigner here. I've had two accounts of healthcare experience in the Philippines. Not much myself, but my mom and my dad. My mom is the Filipina, my dad is a foreigner. So I'll just give you a quick breakdown of their experience and my experience, my perception of ongoings with healthcare in the Philippines. Now, it's a broad topic, and uh, the question is how good or bad. We're not going to be pinpoint because not everything is about good or bad. There are many things deeper than good or bad when it comes to life. But I'll just keep it broad. It's going to be an eye opener for the most part. And I like that there's a video resource covering this topic to complement what exists on Quora in case someone needs is searching YouTube organically and ends up finding this video. It may give him a broad perspective or her a broad perspective to this subject. So let me start by saying what my perception is. In general, Philippines has a good education system, especially when it comes to health. I believe that they have a good education system. I've seen the way nursing happens in the Philippines, the course, even medicine. And I've been to a hospital that is a university hospital, and I've seen the ongoings of the system, with student doctors, student nurses. Very early on, they're in practice, unlike some other nations where it's more theory. In the Philippines, from the second year, they're already in community hospitals, both nurses and health practitioners in general, and they're practicing already. And you see the excitement on these students. They're very excited and passionate when it comes to their course, and proactive and active. When it comes to rendering health service. But I'll tell you my perception, which is something that can be adjusted, and it has mostly to do with the mentality. In general, the Philippines has a working mentality, where many things is about climbing the career ladder, impressing a boss. Now, not that this is bad, but there comes times when the scenario needs treatment that is out of the box, and you may need to use your own IQ. There are times when the boss will not be there, and an off the book scenario comes about, and you'll need to use your own IQ. We'll get to that. So, my mom died in a Philippine hospital. She was in several hospitals. We had experiences in several hospitals. Although she spent only 16 days, I watched her death. And there's something that's constant amongst this hospital, and it boils down to mentality, not the education. When it comes to education, they're versed, but the mentality aspect, because education wise too, in general, this is not only with the hospital system, but in general in the Philippines, you know, they aren't going to dare, for the most part, to be out of the books or to be out of the books. It's mostly what's in the books, what's the superior has tutored them, is what they stick to. I won't go into very deep details, but this is just food for thought for the most part. So one thing that wasn't so One thing that is good is the knowledge is not lacking. Filipinos know what they're doing. Their education standard is good enough. They know what they're doing when it comes to. Sorry about that. They know what they're doing when it comes to the education aspect of medicine. The service, the care, they have it. By nature, they're gifted in these things. The nurses know how to be caring. I'm comparing this to some other countries where, treatment is, you know, there are some places where the regard for human is just very limited. You know, it's just a hustle and bustle kind of locations. Not in the Philippines, not in other countries. So in the Philippines, they have that aspect to them. They'll care about you, remove reading. They have people that will take care of that. Some hospitals will not avail you of that. They have people that will take care of that, and without question, that hospitality aspect, they have it to them. The education aspect is there too, but there's need for exposure when it comes to education because education is broader than what is in the books. You need to have experience in life scenarios, and that's why I'll encourage that. Filipinos in general, when it comes to the health category, should be open to exposure, maybe by means of travel or volunteer work in places that are not the Philippines, where they're not in their comfort zone, and that will open them to scenarios where they have to improvise, make use of their IQ, do things that are not necessarily in the books. They'll be able to dare situation and create new solutions. These are some of the things missing. I'll get down to that. I'm just digressing a bit. So one thing that I've noticed that is, emergency is not so fast. Like when my mom was dying on her dying day, in the emergency room, it took so long to be able to, get her to the ward, and there's something that's good about hospitals here in that, they'll take you as a patient even though you've not settled bills and allow you to settle bills later when there's an emergency, which is very good. There are some countries where they will not take you. They'll even tell you if it's an accident or something, they'll tell you to go and get a police report. They don't want any blood in their hands and stuff like that. And that is dire situation. But in Philippines, that's a very good thing about them. They'll take you in, do this first bundle of payments, maybe very small, and get you to the ward. But in some cases, the emergency is not very fast. You know, um, there's a kind of routine aspect to what they do so that the emergency aspect is gone because they've seen so many patients in such a situation, so that drive to be in a haste is not there. This is general, not it may not be the case, but from my experience. Now we'll read the experience of another person from Cora. So that's something that is missing. Now, when it comes to treatment, it's mostly by the books. If you have let's say, a new doctor, maybe just a graduating doctor, he wants to follow the books, he wants to follow what his superiors have told him, and you notice that in the schooling education as well. I know someone that's doing nursing, and that's how it is. When you're too bold and you question matters, you lose faith in the eyes of the lecturer, and stuff like that. But that's a general thing. It's not only in the medical industry, in the working industry in general. I've worked in the Philippines as well. When I was working, I'm the only one that will, dare situation, ask questions. While for the most part, others want to climb the career ladder and once the boss comes, they're very intact. Not that it's a bad thing, but there are times where you have to use your own IQ because the situation is out of the context of the books. Anyway, so in the medical health, when there are, situations where I ask questions, they're not really open to alternative stuff. I'm not a doctor, but there are some things that are just logical from a human standpoint that, I'll lay on the table as options. But once there's no option according to the books, and there's no option, and especially when the doctor is a new doctor, he's keen on pleasing the veteran doctors, what they've told him, the superiors, and his own capability as a human. Humans are powerful. Each human has their own spirit, their own, and these things are unique. There are times to use these things. Your own personality, your own genes, your own presence, your own touch. It may be your touch, your own particular prayer that is the solution. But where you're limited by fear of, a boss, which is not bad, but there are sometimes you have to do that, and there are sometimes your boss will like you for doing that. This is what sparks innovation and stuff like that. So these are some of the things missing with the healthcare, not the education, but more of exposure, more of ambition, so as to find answers. Even if you're following a standard, you can create new standards by experimenting. In some cases, like there was a time with my mom when she was dying, I was open to experiments. They put her in the ICU, and I had to have them bring her out because what I was seeing is I don't know what they're doing. Taking different counts of blood from her, and they were just not open to experiment. They were just keen on moving her to the ICU, which was very expensive, which is not bad, but they were doing nothing there. And I was trying to look for alternatives. I tried to contact an alternative medicine doctor, and we wanted to do something. This is now my improvisation, which is against the policies, but I met an elderly man, and I, you know, put the situation before him and talk, and he was willing to put his career on the line to experiment alternative treatment. So we're moving her because they already told us to wait for her death, and there's nothing that they can do. So I told them to move her to the general ward, which they were reluctant. They wanted her to be in the ICU, for as long as, and that will cost money. But I wasn't looking at the money part. So upon moving her, they were reluctant, and you had to push them, and the drive was not there to keep her alive when they were transporting her. That's what I saw. And this is not new. It happened with the other hospital, and the other hospital, you know, and the drive to move her to ICU. That's once that's established, that's what they wanted. Move her to ICU and stuff like that, which is not bad. Overall, many things have to do with business, but exposure, mentality adjustments will adjust these things. And um, I know that my mom's case was critical, but you know, if I was a doctor, I would dare stop. I would try new stuff and stuff like that. That's how things are developed, really. When it comes to my dad, same thing. It's a money venture, which is not bad. Again, nothing wrong with business, nothing wrong with establishing an enterprise and creating business out of it. There's nothing wrong with it, but also be balanced when it comes to the treatment and care of the human. So, my dad as well, he has health problems, and I take him into the hospital, and where the situation is something that anyway, it'll just keep you there, and your funds will exhaust. The last time you just had, anyway, that's the logic, that's the thing surrounding it. Everything is good. They have a good system, uh, not too cheap if you're a foreigner. Not that they exploit foreigners, but they don't have that reservation of caring about how you fare financially because you're a foreigner. So but when you're a Filipino, you know that there are ventures, avenues for you to cut down on costs. You know, So anyway, it's quite expensive, but of course not as expensive as it will be maybe in USA to get the same treatment. Uh, Now, for me, for small cases, yes, that's good enough. I've had small cases in my case, and it was good. I've done dentist work, and you have to persist. That's it. You just have to persist. If you're doing things like when I did the dentist case, I had to go to several dentists. The first uh, sentiment is, oh, it's not possible. You have to do a surgery, and the surgery is maybe like 10,000 pesos or 20,000 pesos. That's the first resort, always, for the most part. Then I pressure until I pressured one, and we went from the first resort to just a feeling. And it was possible. You just need to dare stuff. It was possible. The tooth was broken, but it was redeemable. And I've done two fillings on the tooth when the first line of action was a surgery, which I wanted to avoid, not only because of the money involved, but also because of fear, pain, and stuff like that. You know, so many things are possible. You just need to be willing to adjust mentality. Push, inspire people to take new action. In some cases, you may win. Just in some cases, you may win. Yeah, but that's something that will help you win when you are able to discuss matters, try to push, try to inspire, try to talk to someone and move them with your spirits, make them brothers. You know, it's that's how what humanity is about. We are bigger than a job or saving a job. There are times when you may be able to afford to lose a job for a brother to save a life instead. Anyway, so that's general. Healthcare is good, better than many countries. I'll tell you the truth. I've been to other countries and things are normal. And I've been to an open hospital with other patients. So there are such hospitals too, government hospitals where you'll see someone die by your side, just open with. Then yes, the student hospital somehow it's quite it looks somehow because the students are just keen on getting their grades and stuff like that. They will do turn by turn resuscitating the person, and then it didn't look quite good. Although that's normal, I mean, but you'll see the vibe is more about the excitement for the nursing adventure and stuff like that than saving the life. So the nursing, the students, they're just keen on going there to get the excitement of nursing than the intention to save a life because you see this in the countenance of the nurses. After someone is dying really, and when you're taking turns trying to resuscitate the person, no response, and you come out and you're just about the adventure. These are some of the things that can be adjusted that will make for a better healthcare system. Now let's go to Cora. Let's read the experience. I found a good experience of someone uh, that spoke about the healthcare system here and his experience. Uh, so I'm not conclusive in anything I'm saying. Everything has room for evolution. So I'm never conclusive about matters because what is obtainable today may not be what is obtainable tomorrow. People evolve, matters evolve, and things adjust. You see, so as to whether it's good or bad, there's room for improvement, and it's quite good. Now we're reading from Ted Hoff. He's a retired writer, and he had a heart attack in the Philippines in 2009. You see, that's 2009. Perhaps there was evolution. There's a lot that has changed since then. But he took a taxi to the University of Perpetual Care Medical Center, one of the primary hospitals in the country. And he said the taxi driver broke the speed limit to get him there because they didn't want him to die in cab. That's something of what I'm saying. You see, that may not be the situation of the taxi driver, but that's the general vibe. That's, oh, you don't die in my car, but let me put you to the hospital instead of the primary intention to save someone. Those are things that need adjustment in general. So he said once he arrived at the hospital, he was quickly taken in for diagnosis. He had a blocked artery and he was informed that he needed surgery. I'll just need to wait for that airplane. So in less than an hour, he was taken to the operating room for an operation where they inserted two stents. He said the doctor was knowledgeable, kind, and after the operation, the staff gave him a round of applause for his work. That's the doctor's work. And he ended up staying in the hospital for 4 days, during which he had tests proving that his blood circulation to his heart was normal. The only complaint he had was food because he had boring food provided to him. Absolutely no seasoning, no salt, no pepper, but he was alive. He said his bill turned out to be $25,000 or 1 million pesos. And when he contacted his hospital in Portland to pay the bill, they were satisfied. You know, his HMO in USA, because they would have had to pay some $80,000, assuming the surgery was done in USA. So in terms of cost, for the same treatment or similar treatment but lower cost, so that's maybe a pro. Said a couple of years later, he needed medical service in Negros Oriental, that's still the Philippines. The hospital was small but efficient, and there was no charge for the x-rays and diagnosis, but he had to pay for medication. His conclusion is that on the whole, Filipino medical service was quite good. He's sure that there are places in the Philippines where the service is not as good as what he experienced with the hospitals he went to, but that is true in any country, including the USA. This comment has some 234,000 views. So that's his experience, and same as mine. Not very conclusive, but I'll say quite good. There's room for improvement, and that is where you have a role to play. In that you're able to create discussion for alternatives when the scenario is not a regular scenario. Discussion always helps overall. Whether the doctor takes action or not, it has impact on his mentality. It may not be today, but he may recall what you have said and try it on another patient and perhaps save a life as a result. So this is where we'll stop this video. If you need any help or have questions, all my contact is underneath this video. My username is surpassing Google across the internet. I'm in Manila. I'm a legitimate illiterate. And contact me. Let's collaborate. Kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel and help me grow. Thank you very much. And your boy Terry. Stay awesome.